Okay, so I wasn't going to originally do this just because of how shitty my camera is, but a few people on a few different forums and on YouTube that I go on was asking me about rejetting this carburetor. So it's the same as any other carburetor, extremely simple. The only problem I can see anyone have is trying to punch out the idle mixture screw on the bottom of it. Extremely easy. You just drill a hole, shove a screw in there, a pick, even a square screwdriver, whatever. Anything you can use pretty much to get it out. But I thought, whatever, good chance to make a video, so I'll do it. Just a 2011 Sportsman 500, of course, the HO model, which I got completely apart to do the exhaust mod, intake mod, which you can see my other videos to do that. I'm also running a K&N air filter. So what I'm going to do for now is remove the carburetor. Okay, so step one is remove the fuel out of your carb. Either drain it out or turn off your fuel. Of course, should be number one, which is at the front. That little valve right there. And let it run out. Should take about 3-4 minutes. Okay, so I just ran the machine until it's out of gas. The reason why I ran it and never used this little bolt right down here, I'll turn on my light, just give me a second here, and try to focus. So normally to remove your gas, you turn this bolt and then there's a vent line that normally goes down to the ground, but in my case it was disconnected. So I never knew where the hose was. I actually had it buried in the pile of junk there. So I just ran it. It doesn't do quite as good a job. There'll still be a couple drops of gas in there. So next thing you need to do is remove this line here, which is just a vacuum for your fuel pump. If you have fuel pouring out of there when you undo it, you need a fuel pump. This is your fuel line. This is just a vent. After you got all those removed, might be an idea to change your fuel filter too. After you got those removed, you'll want to just, of course, take off your boot here. Same with the front one, your two hose clamps. You might want to remove your clutch cable. Not clutch cable, I'm freaking half drunk. Your freaking choke cable. And your throttle cable. So those are the next two things you'll want to remove. I'm just trying to see if I can see where I dropped that damn screw, but yeah, I'm sure it's going to show up after. And if I don't find it, it's not too big of a deal. You know. And a lot of people don't know, but for setting your idle, it's that little knob right there on the end of that wire. This little wire that comes up, that's for setting your idle. So I just had to restart the camera because someone tried to call me, and when someone tries to call me, it freaking kills the video. So I'm just turning this whole intake boot here just so it makes room. The whole intake boot right around. I'm not sure, is that even in view? Kind of, okay. So now the carburetor is completely loose. I can pull it out. Normally enough slack here. If I turn it upside down, I know I'm going to probably leak a bit of gas. So realistically, there's no need to remove it any more than this. You could get to everything right here. But for this case, I'm going to remove the entire thing. So all I got to do now, take off your choke cable just by undoing that. And your throttle cable, which is a little bit more of a bitch. I'm going to see if I have room once I remove the choke cable just to put a piece of cardboard down here and do it on top, because I hate removing the throttle cables. I'll probably end up having to show you how to do that anyway, just because I have nowhere to put my camera. So I'll pause it for now. Okay, 12 mil. If I can get it on, I'm on a bit of an angle here. Okay, got that loose. That was surprisingly very, very loose. That's never a good thing. Just unscrews, and there's a little bit of a spring and a plunger. So almost every carb is exactly the same for the choke mechanism. The only way to get this off is you push down on your spring and then your cable slides out to the side. In this case, I'm going to leave all this attached. I'll just give it a good cleaning before I put it on. So a little bit of gas still dripping out. As you can see now, I got room to move everything around. Plenty of room there, leaving the throttle cable attached. Holy, I gotta show you, man, there's some pretty good corrosion in here. That explains probably why it was a little bit stiff last time I tried to start it. Or frozen, I mean. So, this one has a little O-ring here. You do not want to lose that. If it's in bad shape, replace it. Can't really get too much closer with it being on a tripod there, but you can see there's quite a bit of corrosion in there. So, you can see how it works there. Okay, so I'll try not to shake the camera too much when I explain what to do next. This is pretty much called, a brass plug. How's that? But a lot of people call them EPA plugs because something to do with, by law, they have to put them in there so you can't tamper with your idle mixture. Yaddy, yaddy, yaddy. Basically, there's already a hole on this one, but I'm going to drill it out a bit more. Some people use screws that go in there. Some people just put a pick. My pick itself isn't small enough to fit in there, so I will have to drill it out. You can put in a drywall screw, any kind of screw. You just wiggle it side to side, it will pop out. Or you just drill it out. The ones I did before were right on the machine. I just drilled it out on a bit of an angle, shoved in a little tiny screwdriver, and it popped right out. So they're not that thick, maybe, I guess, 2 millimeters thick. You see I got some pretty good corrosion in there, so it's a good idea to pop that open and spray it down with some cleaner. Okay, so I'm going to first of all, I'm going to be removing my idle adjuster, just by the one screw on the bottom right there, and I'm going to remove my entire float bowl. I ended up going for a 160 main. The pilot jet is going to be a 45, which I don't have the pilot jet yet. I got to actually take the one out of here, bring it in, match it up, because it's a little bit hard to guess which one your machine takes. For the main jet, I'm sure it's just going to be called a Mikuni large round, I guess, is the easiest way to say it. It's not the hex head, it's just a large round. Any motorcycle shop will know what that means. Shouldn't pay more than $5 a piece for those, where the pilot jet will probably end up being 10 to 20 bucks. And as for this screw here, depending on your elevation, I'm in Winnipeg, Manitoba, so I don't even know what the elevation is here, but it's under 1,000 foot, so I'm going to go 2 turns out on this. As for the main jet, depending on your elevation, for where I am, a 160 should be excellent. If you're a little bit higher, you might want to go even to a 155. Stock is 152.5, and your pilot jet stock is 40. So I'm going to a 45. So yes, I am going to a little bit of a bigger jet off the hop. I'm going to see how it runs, and I might end up going a bit smaller, hard to say. So, but for my kind of riding and what I plan on maybe doing to this thing, I shouldn't have to rejet after this. So okay, I guess I could grab the drill and I can drill that out and try to catch that on tape. My camera mount, the whole tip broke, or the whole swivel broke off it, so I'm just freaking taping onto it, so whatever. Okay, so just give me a second here. Purposely set it a bit down. So basically, what you want to do is drill this out. I hope that's going to be in the view. It's a very, very sharp drill bit, so it won't take much. And I'm already through. Yeah, just going to clean it up a bit here. So, believe it or not, very, very sharp drill bit. And not very, very cheap. Okay, so now that I got that out, take my screwdriver here. Just be a second here. Take my screw. I'm going to put my screw into here. And I'm going to thread it in. It's kind of hard with it being this long. And you don't want to thread it in too much, which I already felt it bottom out there, so... And basically what you want to do is try to rock it back and forth with your hand first. In this case here, the screw's moving itself, so I am going to notch... Oh, now the whole thing's turning. So now that the whole thing's turning, I want to grab it with a pair of pliers. Mr. Blue Point pliers will make a... It's probably not a very good view. It's kind of hard holding it like this. I'm going to go side to side. You don't want to go too much or you can actually damage it. The whole thing's moving now. So now I can probably not use the pliers. Take with my hand. And there you go. So that's pretty much it. It's a little tiny plug. And basically, you'll want to give it a good cleaning underneath. In my case, I'm just going to use brake clean. So I'll get a better view of that screw in a second here. But you know how many people I have seen that had their machine running like shit and there's no mixture screw? Yeah, there is. Okay, so I just restarted the camera accidentally, but it's probably a good thing because now I can focus it a little bit better. So that is your screw underneath it. So basically what you want to do is go all the way in and then 2 turns out if the elevation is under 3,000. If you're over 3,000, you'd probably end up only wanting to go 1.5, maybe 1 3/4. Or actually, what's better yet? Elevation, say under 3,000 or under 2,000, probably 2 turns. Between 2,000 to 4,000, probably 1 3/4, and over 4,000, I'd go 1.5. So that's just the way I would do it. Gives you a good starting point. See how your machine's running, and that's how I adjust the idle air mixture anyway. And holy crap, that screw is a little bit tight on there. I don't know why, but you can see there, it actually took a chunk off the snap-on screwdriver. So it's kind of hard to see there, but you know, shows how good snap-on is. That screw there is stronger than snap-on. So yeah, and that is the proper size screwdriver. So, and of course I thought there was 4 on here, then I looked at, wait a minute, there's only 2 screws. But whatever, who cares? Now I gotta grab another screwdriver. Holy crap, hey? One more thing I might want to add here. This screw was so freaking tight. I was pushing down on the end of the frame here with like a lot of my weight. And finally got it undone. Screw doesn't look to be in the best shape. But on this side here, it just won't budge and it started to strip. And that's even after trying 3 different screwdrivers. So, and that's going through the snap-on screwdrivers, a couple of them made in Germany, a couple generic ones, and master crap ones. So basically, the way I have always removed them, when they normally even started to strip, normally I wouldn't let them even get this bad. But in that case, I just was too lazy to get up. Anyway, pair of old rusty vice grips. Preferably, if you have a good pair, would probably be a little bit better. I have seen people trying to grab them from the sides and going like this. If you can, that's good. That's fine. But I have always grabbed them on the front like this. So I go right onto it here. Kind of hard with one hand. And that just slipped right off. Okay, try upside down. And of course, you never want to pinch your hands in between vice grips because that really, really hurts. So that is on. If I could, I'd hold my cell phone with my mouth, but holy fuck, is that tight! Okay, well, I'm gonna have to somehow do this, but anyway, let's see. Hold it like this. Holy shit! Okay, either it stripped or it moved, but I mean, I can't believe how tight that screw was. And of course, they're old shitty vice grips, so just give me a second to remove them. Well, by the looks of it, that screw moved, and I can't believe how tight that screw was. Oh God, thank God it moved. Anyway, I can either replace that screw or I can use the vice grips to tighten it back up. So the proper thing would be to release it, or replace it. Okay, so that one's loose. I'm going to also loosen the other side at the same time, just so it doesn't put any strain on it. Now it doesn't matter. Now I can remove it. I'll start the video again once I remove them. They're both loose. I just wanted to show you my little trick. Even kind of gave me a good... I can't even focus on there, but there we go. Somehow managed to scrape myself when I was doing that. Okay. Probably was that sharp zip tie right there, I'm guessing. You know. Okay, so I'll start it again once I get the cover off. Okay, so you don't see this that often when you remove a float bowl. Clean. Not a speck of dirt on it. Seal has some dirt on it there. Don't know where that came from. Might have came off my hands. So anyway, so you can see there, it is a large round jet. So what I'll do is I'll remove that. Basically, a big flat screwdriver. If you start stripping it, you're changing it anyway, or you can use vice grips if it starts stripping, but you're going to be changing it anyway. Just make sure you used a proper screwdriver, of course, for it. I think I was just aiming the camera at the ground there. And those energy drinks are starting to kick in because I'm getting a little bit of the shakes. You know what I mean? Okay, so I'm going to pop that out. Just give me a second here. Okay, find a better way to hold the camera and to stand in between my legs folded up. So loosen this off. First of all, sometimes I go back and forth a little bit. And actually, I just tightened it. It moved quite a bit there. Fuck, is that loose? Don't lose any other parts when you take that off. Yeah, that is 152. Oops, off the camera there. So yeah, 152.5. So that's what it said. Nice and clean, man. Holy crap. I'm not used to working on newer machines like this. So just move all your parts. None of that else falls off. This just pulls out of here, but I'm not going to. I guess I have to. So of course, when that happens, you lose your needle. Don't lose the little O-ring on your float. Okay. Okay, now I'm going to remove the pilot jet. Straight in there. Now you're going to want a good screwdriver. This one here is the opposite of a good screwdriver, but it's skinny and it has a big bulky head on it. Works great for pilot jets. I think I had that out of view again. For some reason I'm bad at holding everything under the camera. But anyway, this was a Princess Auto special. The screwdriver cost me like $2. So pretty much you want to go in. This is very easy to strip, and if you strip them, they're a bitch to get out. Basically, you want to wiggle it side to side, see if you go any. Oh, that one there did move a little bit there, or I moved off it. But now you want to wiggle it side to side, and then give it. Oh man, was that loose? Didn't even have to. So it's strange how everything else was loose, but then the freaking cover was super tight on it. So it's loose, and that is just a small little sucker. So you can see right there. I'm going to look with my eyes, and it is a 40. So yeah, that is exactly what it's meant to have in it. You can see nothing stripped on the end of it. So I'm going to be changing this to a 45. So a little pilot jet. So this I actually got to bring with me tomorrow because I got to match up a new jet. I kind of figured it was either this type or another one because we could see that there's the threads on the outside of it here. So it is just a very, very common jet. Toss that in there. So the next thing is the C-clip position. So bad thing is I don't even know where they come from stock, but I'm going to be moving it to roughly the middle of it. So just give me a second here. I'll get my camera set up and I'll show you how to do that. I'm going to move the camera a bit more here, and actually I'm going for a piss break if you really want to know. Okay, one thing I thought I'd mention, which I have had to do with a couple older machines. Not that old because they still had the plug on there, of course, which, you know, even some fairly old bikes, I guess, have that, so I can't really say that. But sometimes you'll notice how stiff this is. I gave this one a little turn side to side, and holy crap is it stiff. So with the amount of corrosion in there, it doesn't really surprise me. So what I'm going to do is remove it. Before I tried to go a little bit tighter to bottom it out, just started to strip. And I tried with that screwdriver there, upside down, pushing down on it. I even tried with this screwdriver here, which has a very good tip. Same idea. It is loose. Like I could take it out, just no way in hell I'm going to get it in to bottom it out. So what I'm going to do now is remove it and clean it up. And what I have done before is took a little file or a hacksaw blade and kind of made a little bit more of a groove for the screwdriver to fit in. That way you should never have to worry about it. So just give me a second here. I did loosen it up. Oh, I thought I did. Just give me a second. I got to put my arm on it. Okay, well, I thought I loosened it, but that was still pretty damn tight. And yeah, that is very tight, so it's going to be blurry for a while. Holy crap, is that tight. And I am pushing hard and going real slow because I don't want to strip the shit out of it. And I'm actually going to stop the camera here because I'm going to have to turn it upside down and push on it just so I don't strip it. So just give me 1 second. Okay, so I got the screw out of here, or the adjuster. Stick it into the cardboard. Stick it in, never lose it. But I know there's a spring in there and normally a washer and most of the time an O-ring. I'm going to turn this upside down, and it's stuck. So now I'm going to grab a pick and pick it out of there and give it a little bit of a cleaning. Just give me a second. So I just stuck a match in there to get out the O-ring. I was going to use a pick, but I didn't want a chance getting the O-ring or wrecking it. The spring came out very easy, and the washer, but the little O-ring was stuck up in the corner there, so no way I'm going to get a very good shot in there. Well, maybe I will. No. There you go. So you can see there is a bit of dirt in there. I can't see it with my eye, but according to my camera, it shows a little bit of dirt in there. So you will want to clean that out for sure. Okay, so basic hacksaw. I actually had it still on the bench, and the grinder from the other day when I did the exhaust. But you want to take it and just put it on slightly on there. It's not going to fit the best if it's a little bit stripped. And just back and forth slowly, keep it in one line. I'm not going to actually do it on camera until you get a pretty, well actually I should say I just did it on camera, but until you get a better notch. So my case, you can see I went a little bit deeper with it. I actually do this to a lot of my, like pretty much every time I'm doing a carburetor, because I learned that the hard way actually when I was doing the Yamaha Warrior. The one that's in it is pretty well, or no, maybe it was the IT-175, but yeah, if you're going to be installing them and moving them a lot, and there is going to be a lot of corrosion and shit, which shouldn't corrode, but gunk I guess I should say, you might want to just give it a little bit more of a tooth to grip too. So try to enlarge that a bit better. Mine wasn't really stripped that bad, like it was just starting to when I got it out, so I decided, you know, might as well do that. You might also want to clean up the edges here, just the edges, just so they go in a bit better. So, okay, so time to put that back in. And 2 turns is what I'm going. It was too dirty for me to really tell what the factory was. Basically, I tried to go in. It was just too tight. I didn't want a chance stripping it where I had to get it out of there stripped. Because if you strip it in there, holy fuck, you're in for a fun time trying to get it out of there. You don't want to really put it in dry. Oh, my O-ring's falling off. So basically, you want to either spit, oil, whatever. Yummy. Rubber. That tastes so good. There you go. Nice ball of spit. Spit would corrode, so you might be better off technically using oil. In my case, I'm using spit. So you want to put that in, and you don't want to wiggle it around too much because you don't want that O-ring to fall off. I'm not going to videotape it, but I'm going to go all the way in. Don't force it when you hit the end. You'll feel where you hit the end. Then I'm going to take it out 2 exact turns. So you might want to try a little bit less than that, depending on your, of course, location, your height above sea level. If you're a little bit higher up, like I'm under 1,000 foot mark, so that's why I'm going 2. But if you're around 3,000 mark, probably want to go 1 3/4. If you're over 3,000, or in between 1,000 to 3,000, let's say, probably 1 3/4. If you're over 3,000, 1 1/2. Okay. Okay, so it's in. Now, depending on how worn out, I guess, your spring is, you might decide you might want to put a drop of some kind of glue in there, something in there to stop it from vibrating out. Technically, with the spring, it should never move, but one of my old machines, it was an old TS 180, TS, yeah, I think TS sounds right, that's Suzuki 185 trail bike, from 74, had a problem with it always moving. So sometimes certain bikes, if it's worn out or if it's just too loose in there, change your spring, or you might just want to put a drop of glue in there. Sure, it's going to piss off the next guy that goes to work on it, but if your engine itself is in good shape, you should never have to change that setting. Just thought I'd throw that in. In this case, I'm not going to. In case you ever worry about it actually falling out completely, by then you'd probably realize it, but you might want to even shove your plug back in there. So your old cap, you might want to shove it back in there if you can. Depends on how hard it was to remove and if it's a tight fit or not. In my case, I'm probably going to shove it in there just for the hell of it. So I'm not going to videotape that, but I'm going to shove it in there. Okay, so I shoved back in the cap. It went in pretty damn loose. Hard to say if it'll ever stay there or if it's going to fall out. I'm not too worried about that. Okay, next for the fun part. Your needle position. That involves removing the top without wrecking your diaphragm. So I'm going to remove these 2 screws here and then I'll start recording. And if it's going to be anything like the bottom 2 screws, it's going to be fucking tight. Okay, so pretty much those were super loose. Never had to worry about that, thank God. Then you'll have your floppy cock and your little bit of your diaphragm here. Now, one thing I want to say before anything is this diaphragm here, when you're reassembling it, you'll want to have your carb standing up and you'll want to make sure it goes into that recess right under there. Because I have seen people pinch it and then it leaks. And it's not good if it leaks. So, this one here is nice. There's no liquid in there. It looks shiny, but that's dry. Basically, yeah, you don't have to touch your spring. I have seen aftermarket kits you can buy, like the Dyno Jet kits, let's say, where they come with a new spring. If it comes with it, you might as well change it. I have seen people take links out of it. Basically, what you're doing by or cutting it, I should say, basically, the faster it comes up it's meant to come up when you give it gas, you create vacuum, and it lifts it. So, yes, there is always a delay when you're running these carbs. If you don't want to delay, put on a VM44, or I'm sure you could find a better carb than that to go on it. But I just thought I'd mention that. And, of course, I'm dropping screwdrivers everywhere. So I'm going to remove this now. It all comes off in one piece. To get your needle jet position is right... I'm going to actually put that back in. But anyway, no, I don't have to. But it just pulls out. It's all one piece. I know you can get aftermarket ones. You can see your needles in there. A little bit dirty up here, so I am going to clean it. It's kind of weird how it's so much dirt in the top there. But anyway, so I'm going to give that a cleaning. Like I have seen that you can get a whole new slider attachments, bore it out, whatever, if you want to make it a little bit quicker. Like I'm saying, this is very, very fragile. Do not rip that, or you got to replace it. Of course, there is replacements available on almost any one, but just be careful with it. And I'm going to move this to the middle. You'll see it's just a little C-clip. I'm not going to try to do that on camera because all you'll see is my dried out, dirty, dirty hands, and you won't be able to see what I'm doing. Okay, so popped it out. Just dumps out. Be very careful with that diaphragm. If you wreck that, some machines it's over $100 to replace. That was just a match. It was empty. So I already moved it down one needle position. Basically, it's just a C-clip. On this one, you can see where the factory was. There's a little bit. They cut it into a little square, so you can always see where the factory was. So down means richer, up is leaner. Down, richer, up, leaner. It's very easy to adjust on these. You just pull off the top. You don't even have to remove your carb to do it. So I'm automatically going to go richer with it. I might end up moving it back to factory. Some carburetors, when you remove them, they are not adjustable. So they do that so you don't lean out and pretty much destroy your engine. So I only seen one like that, and if I remember right, it was on my 750 Yamaha 750 Virago, which is a V-twin street bike. It was 1981. I believe it was in 81. And what I ended up doing is finding some very thin washers and putting thin washers pretty much in between this and that, and or vice versa, and just to move it up and down. So I think it was that bike. I'm trying to remember. I had quite a few street bikes that I played with in my time. Right now I'm out of street bikes, so more into off-road vehicles, as you can tell. So I just thought I'd put that. You can get small little washers, but basically, if I have to go down one more notch, and for some reason it's still too lean, then I'll have to go up another jet size. But normally, like I said, I'm starting with the 160, and technically I probably shouldn't even have moved this, but I did decide to move it. This is what I mean. Like this here has the little this little washer on the bottom, but you can actually put washers in between if you had to, because some people actually like to go in between a setting. So I might even do that instead of moving it another notch if I need to. I'll move it up most likely. I'll have to, and I'll probably use just a tiny little washer. So I'll move it up one notch and then use a washer just to space it down. Little 3mm washers. You can get all kinds of different sizes. I got tons of them. Computer, like pretty much any computer store would give you a little metal washer. You don't want to use the cardboard one. Or you could go any hardware store. But anyway, I just wanted to say that's where I'm moving it for this machine. Just remember, up you're going leaner, down you're going richer. So I will most likely have to adjust it again. You always want to make sure there's no huge ridge or anything riding on it. Check your diaphragm. Again, you don't want to wreck that. That's, I'm guessing, over $100 to replace. So I'm going to, right now, what I'm going to do is stick this in a cardboard here so I don't lose it. And I left just the top of this just stuck to the spring there. A little floppy cock there bouncing around. So I'm just going to give that a quick blast. There's no point in dunking this carb. I'm not going to dunk it. It's very clean. The bike was running pretty decent, so I'm just going to give it a quick spray with carb clean. Stay away from that with brake clean. You do not want to get brake clean on that. I just thought I'd say that because brake clean will eat that rubber. I just know it will. I'm not going to try it. Actually, I had brake clean on that cardboard. Maybe I'll move it over there. But I just decided I'd say that. You do not want to use brake clean on that, ever. Very, very, very bad. So I just thought I would mention that because, you know, there's some stupid people around here. I have seen people using brake clean to start their machines, and if you have a diaphragm like that, it will get brake clean up into there. And in that case, yeah, you'll probably be spending $100 on a diaphragm. So you do not want to clean that. Well, you don't want to get anything on there that's going to eat it anyway. So I'm even afraid to put frickin' carb cleaner on that. So okay, so I'm just going to give this a quick. Okay, so I'm just going to give this a quick squirt with the cleaner, and I'll get back to you guys in a second. Okay, got everything that's drying now. Got my carb cleaner I just sprayed on it. Gave it a good blast. Just notice I got a match on the ground. Should I kick it? Should I kick it? You know, spark it, light some of that carb cleaner on fire. Yeah, I'm not that drunk. It's not that amusing. So nope, not this time. Maybe next time. Okay, one more tip I decided to say. When you're putting this spring back inside there, very, very important. I'll actually dump this out of here to show you. Very, very important now that you moved it, that you get that lined up over top that. If you get the spring over top it, because if you don't get it perfectly like that, and somehow you manage to get it shoved beside or somehow like that, it's going to run like shit. Your throttle response is going to be horrible because if you get it somehow hooked onto the end, which actually in this case here, yeah, in this case I think there would be enough room that you could. Technically, you give it a couple pounds with the throttle, you might be able to get it back into place, but it would be huge delay. So yeah, that is something that I just wanted to say, very important. So basically, you know how this comes back out of here. To put back in that diaphragm, I'm going to be standing the carb up, and I'm going to be putting it in very carefully. If you pinch it, you'll probably get an air leak. If you get an air leak, it's probably $100 to buy that brand new. Okay, so have it all lined up. Just took myself a little bit of a break. Redneck Rickham, I'm sure everyone knows who he is having a live chat. And I'm trying to pay attention and do this and everything at once. You see there's all kinds of people there. Mine's the one with the red on there because I'm not there. But I just missed him fall off the fucking couch. Fuck, I just missed him, James, fall off the fucking couch. Who's going to clean the fat guy off the floor? Oh, fuck. Well, anyway, because I'm videotaping, I'm going to have to close this. It will go into sleep mode in a few minutes. Takes its time. It's a Linux PC. Well, it's just a little bit sooner than always. Anyway, Just thought I'd show you what I mean about this rubber here. You can see it's a bitch sometimes. I have seen people use like a dielectric grease or something to lock it into place. But this one here is not dry rotted or anything near that. It's pretty much brand new. It's still wanting to pop out as I push it around. But pretty much you want to get it in there the best you can and then put on your cover. And then you want to look very carefully before you crank down your screws that it's in place. So I just thought I'd show you that. And of course make sure your spring's in place proper. If that is not in place, you're going to have some pretty good problems. So okay, that is in perfectly. Now I'll put back on my cover. And of course I cleaned everything out very thoroughly with Carb Clean. Did not get any Carb Clean onto the diaphragm, and I just popped it out. Damn it. Okay, well, whatever. I'll just put that in off camera. So it's kind of a bitch. Especially with one hand holding the camera. That's why I'm not doing it, of course. Thought I'd post this on a video here. That is getting worn pretty bad on top of there. So I'm going to spin it around because normally that faces the back. I'm going to spin it facing the front. On this case here, it's exactly the same. Doesn't matter which way it's facing. Just something you might want to, note. Because if that goes through, you're going to have a pretty bad problem. So you can see it's not that bad yet. But with the seat rubbing on there, I can't believe it even got that bad. So it's not just polish. It physically, that's a big, big wear mark on there. So just thought I'd say with all the corrosion that's in here, a lot of people wonder what to put in there. Well, I've seen people use dry graphite grease, silicone lube. In my case, the only thing that was handy and actually right beside me pretty much was silicone lube. So toss some of that in there. Under these boots here, normally I put dielectric grease. It'll just stop the water from pretty much getting in there. Just something I always did. Just thought I'd throw that in the video. Of course, make sure your O-ring lines up good. So the one that was on here couldn't have did too big of a job with that much corrosion in here. So just thought I'd toss that in the video just to make it a little bit more boring for everyone else. Okay, so I finally got my jets. They were on order for a while. Main jets were easy to find. Pilot jets were kind of a bitch. Just a cap covering the carburetor there. So got my jets here. I got a 45 Pilot, 157.5 and a 160 for the main. So time to throw it all back together and see how it runs. So I might have to change a few things. I'm not too sure yet. I'm not going to reassemble or videotape the reassembly because it's stupidly simple. So I'll start the camera once it's assembled. Okay, so carburetor's installed. Got that all in place. The fuel system is not primed. Better move my old jets here, don't need them dumping. It's not primed again, the fuel system, so might take a little bit. So I'm going to give it a couple cranks here and see what happens. Key. Oh, right there. Flick off my magic switch. It's already off. Turn off my headlights. I was playing with the lights on this thing, so battery's going to be pretty low. Now, I'm not sure where it's going to be idling yet, because I did play around with the idle settings. Once again, it needs to prime itself. So the fuel pump, I think I turned on the gas again. I'm going to try it for a few more seconds. If it doesn't start, I'll check the fuel. Oh, I see gas starting to happen in the filter. Turn on the light here. Starting to see fuel now. Okay, so I played with the idle a bit more. Also, I had this cranked out a bit too high. A little bit of free play in there, but not too much, so I am going to have to adjust it more. I'm just going to give it a try. But that sounds much better, eh? So I like it to idle around 1250. Sounds like, or it kind of sounds like it's running a bit rich. Oh, there goes my case. But of course, I'm expecting it to run a little bit rich. It's kind of the way I'm jetting. Make sure choke still works. Yep. I got to turn down the idle a little bit anyway. Well, maybe not. Might be okay. Have to see once it warms up a bit more. You guys notice I have no brake lights. They're completely dead, no running lights. I killed them. I'm going to actually spray paint these with a kind of fog. But to make them work, now I got full lights. And brake lights when I want them to. For cold starting in the winter and for whatever other reason, you know, I want to have a brake light switch. Running a little bit rich by the sounds of it. Better than lean. A little bit of fartage. Well, I guess I'll put the airbox top on it. Don't see anything leaking yet. I still got to rope my my breather line. It's just sitting on top of the engine right now. See if it starts up, how it starts. Okay, seems to start up fine. Look at that, it even has a key hook. Well, I got to route some more lines and then I'll put on the airbox lid, everything else. I got to get the battery cover on, and then I'm going to kick it outside for now. And I'm actually going to be bringing in the 400EX, and I'm going to be taking a look at that hopefully tonight. Right now it's Friday night. So between the two machines, I want to be able to try to take this one at least out for a ride, hopefully Saturday or Sunday. See how that carburetor's running, or working. So okay, that's where I'm going to leave it for now.